You're inside the Diva's Den, and on the phone, I have the legendary Shirley Jones. Hi, Shirley. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Denise. How you doing?
I'm great, Shirley. Thanks for asking. Every person should know about the Jones girls and about Shirley Jones, because if you got a mama, if you got a grandmama, I know we all have grown up listening to Shirley Jones. But what I want to know is, when you first started singing, how old were you and your sisters?
When we first started as background singers with my mother, I was actually started singing a duet with her at about 6. But when all three of us were actually harmonizing behind her, I was 8, Brenda was 7, and Valerie was 5, almost turning 6.
Now tell everybody what it is that your mother did and the reason you always singing background with her.
My mother was a gospel singer. In fact, she was the first black gospel singer that RCA Victor Records ever signed to their label.
I always ask this question because, some of us are born with God-given talent. Or did you learn how to sing because you heard your mama sing, or did your mama teach you how to sing?
My mother taught us how to sing. Once she realized that we had voices, singing voices, she's the one that trained us and be outside playing, as kids, like kids do. And she let us play for a few hours, but at least 3 or 4 times a week, we had to spend a couple of hours rehearsing. It would be my mother, us, and my godmother on the piano, practicing, harmonizing, singing all the time, as well as she was a very popular gospel singer, so we would be singing in different churches on Sunday for different church events.
Wow. And nowadays, parents always have this excuse to say, they're too young to learn. They're too young to be doing that. Don't push them so hard. Give them time to be kids, and then they'll have time to learn a craft or learn an instrument. But in listening to your story and finding out how your mom took such a wonderful role in making sure that she groomed and helped you all groom your voices, is a testament to where you are today.
Yes, it is. And she also enrolled us in piano, voice lessons, too. So we had her as well as professional. In fact, I was the protege of an opera star that was over here for 2 years, Mr. Armand, at 13 years old. I was his protege because I recently wanted to be an opera singer and go to Juilliard. So from the ages of 13 to 15, I was his protege. So he was teaching me and grooming me on the operatic side. So we've always had both professionals and then, of course, my mom help us as far as our vocals to get the best out of our vocals, these voices that we were blessed with. And when you're vocalizing, when you're harmonizing with others, you have to learn how to blend. And that is where my mother really came in, because she taught us. We knew how to back up, maybe not be as close to the microphone, or when to bring it down, or when to bring it up. And those were the things that I guess people call us the queens of harmony. And that's because we learned how to blend together using our voices and the tones, the different tones that we all were blessed with, to blend together to give people that sound.
Because Shirley, you and I both know that if you're not careful, if you don't know those tones, and if you don't know how to pull back it sometimes, you can actually oversing the person that you're singing background for.
Oh, yeah. And that's one of the things that we learned from a young age how to do. And I give all that credit to my mom.
Your journey to becoming background singers for Diana Ross. How did you all even find out that you wanted background singers, or did you all just come up with the idea, we are going to be background singers for Diana Ross?
No, she was actually looking for people. We were in California, had just moved there, and we were doing background for a lot of people that worked at Motown, as well as background for other people. And the guy that was handling us at that time, a guy named Kelly Jackson, was told that Gil Askey, her music director, had told him he thought that we would be good to audition because of the fact that, you know, we were so popular, good background singers. He asked us if we wanted to try because he had been turning everybody down. So we said, yeah, we should try because, I mean, come on. We grew up idolizing, wanting to be like Free. And so we thought, well, wow, what a great opportunity that would be. You know, so we said, yeah, we'll audition. And we went up there thinking we were going to be auditioning for her music director, Jill, and her road manager, a guy named Don. We went up to his home, and McKinley went with us and was playing the piano. And Jill sitting there, Don sitting there, and lo and behold, she comes from the back room. She had been listening, and she could see words out of her mouth. Well, you guys are fantastic. Can you get passports? We're going to London. And we Brenda had to run to the bathroom because she was like, oh my God. We all, the expression on our faces when Diana Ross, the lady we had idolized, and idol still to that day. I mean, from kids, we used to gather around the TV watching the Supremes on the Ed Sullivan show. To actually see her, that she was in the room and she was telling us that we're fantastic. That, I mean, you can imagine that moment when we were like, oh my God, yes, London, where's London? That's how it happened.
Well, how long did you sing background for Diana Ross?
We sang background for 3 years up until we signed with Philly International, and I credit us getting with Philly International to her giving us our own 10-minute spot in her show. She said, you guys are too good to sing background behind me. She was not with Motown at that time. She was in the process of leaving Motown.
Okay.
And she said, and I want to introduce you to the world. So find the song, and when I do one of my many costume changes, I'm going to have you guys. And she did that, and it just so happened that when we were in Philadelphia at the Shooter Theater, Gamble and Hum were in the audience that night. And they heard us, and the rest of Jones Girls history.
And that is a wonderful story. Once you all got signed, tell me what was the next journey of the Jones Girls? Your first song.
Once we were signed with Philly International, we went back to California. They got the paperwork, the contract, and everything, you know. They got all that, and then we moved to Philadelphia for 3 months. And that was the pattern for every Jones Girls album. They would put us in these apartments, and for 3 months we would be there working on the album, from the concept of the album covers, because, you know, album covers were big in those days. The liner notes and the pictures, a whole lot of work went into all of that. Started working with guys like, of course, Gamble and Cobb, Cynthia Biggs, Dexter Wansell, Nick Madden, Whitehead. It was all of these different writers. And it was like a little classroom. They would give us our schedule, and we would go to different ones, and they would present their songs to us. And then from there, we would meet with Gamble and decide which ones we were going to do. We always cut more than would be on an album. And then after that, after all the songs were recorded, we would select which songs were going to make the album. So we have a can of songs, as they call it, that were never released. In fact, Kenny Gamble has a podcast. I'm doing his show on September 1st.
After the death of your sisters, what kept you going? What kept that drive in you to keep singing and to keep that legacy living? Because some legacies have just died after the person passed away.
Their spirits are what keeping me going. Actually, I became more determined after Brenda's death in 2017 because, like you say, some music just dies out. It's on me to keep that legacy, to keep people remembering all the beautiful music and the work that we put into creating those songs and singing those songs. I hear so often those songs are part of their childhood. So as long as I'm able to to have people remember those days, the good times, the good parts of their childhood, I'm going to do that because that's important to me. And I want to keep that going because to me it's inspirational for people to reflect back on good times. And I'm glad that our youth was a part of the good times of people's lives that they can go back to the review and listen to. And it's something that I want to carry on. And my son and Valerie's son are also keeping it going by redoing a lot of our music, hip-hop style, on an album that they're working on called Homage, Jones Girls. And then, of course, I'm working on my album. I'm 6 songs in, a tribute album to my sisters called In Loving Memory. So I Won't Tell is one of the 6 songs that I've done so far. It's a remake of my favorite Jones Girl song, which is Who Can I Run To? And I've always loved the melody and everything about the song, and that I decided to write those lyrics. Give it a whole different approach, but still has the beautiful melody that the song originally had.
Well, listen, just keep on creating great music, and because in this time where there are so many new singers, new artists that are coming up and trying to get into this career, your longevity is going to be nothing but an encouragement to them to keep fighting, and not only to keep fighting, but to keep producing and putting out good music that makes sense, that feeds the soul, that inspires others.
And I'm so glad that our story is going to be told. We're part of season 11 coming up for Unsung. I don't know which episode yet, but we just finished our part going back to Detroit, and they're putting the rest of it together. So I will be announcing that when that date is set, but it will be sometime before the year is out that they'll be able to see the story of the Jones Girls, and I'm really happy about that because I know my sisters are happy, and I can say to young people, just practice, because that's what we did. In fact, some of the best memories with my sisters, the 3 of us in a room, practice and learning, whether we were singing background for somebody, putting background together that we wanted to do, or singing our song. We always practiced because we were taught by my mom to strive for perfection, and so that when the opportunity does present itself, you will be ready. And just practice, use your instrument, your voice, and just be ready through hard work. There's nothing wrong with a lot of hard work, because Lord knows we put a lot of work into every one of our albums, every one of our shows. Again, because we wanted to present to our audiences the best that we could, the best of the Jones Girls.
Sure, and you did that. Your sisters did that when they were here, and your mom did that too in her gospel singing. One last thing I want to talk about before I say goodbye, and that's the song that has you on the radar to be nominated for a Grammy. Tell us the name of it.
There Are No Difference. Actually, I recorded that over a decade ago, and she happened to call me one day, a few months back, during this pandemic while we were all in lockdown, and she said, I noticed that a lot of people, she had put it up on the internet. She said, a lot of people have been clicking on that song. And she said, do you remember that song we did? And she had to send it to me for me to remember, because I did a lot of songs with her. She said, that song would be perfect with a video for these times. There are no difference between you and me. Talking about race relations and how we all bleed the same, and we're all one. So we put the video together, and she is a member of NARA, and she played it for some people, and as of last week, they submitted it for consideration for a Grammy, both the video and the song, because people have just been loving the video, and not even knowing about the song, just the song and the video together has been uplifting to so many people. So we're hoping that it gets that nod, and if it doesn't, that it reaches many people through YouTube and it downloads as possible, because it's an inspiration and it talks about what I think needs to be talked about right now. The fact that there really are no differences. We're all one race, and that's the human race.
Shirley Jones, I wish you more success. I pray that you get that Grammy nod. I pray that you get the Grammy Award.
And thank you so much. And to your audiences, the best of luck. And you only get the best when you listen to the Diva.
Ooh, with that, I'm not going to ask you anything else. I'm just going to say, stay safe. And I can't wait till we have a reunion.
Oh, you and me both. Can't wait to see you, girl. You take care. Stay safe. God bless.
There are no differences between you and